underscores ongoing efforts by both countries to strengthen bilateral relations and deepen cooperation on regional security, trade and economic development. Tinubu received the Chadian leader in a closed-door session where both leaders discussed issues of mutual interest and regional collaboration. The meeting took place shortly before Tinubu's planned trip to Jos to commiserate with victims of recent attacks on Plateau. Nigeria and Chad key stakeholders in the Lake Chad Basin have continued to collaborate in addressing shared security challenges. Both countries are actively involved in tackling insurgency and cross-border threats affecting the region. This visit underscores the enduring relationship between both countries and their mutual interest in deepening strategic cooperation. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has visited Jos, Plateau State following the deadly attack in the Jos North local government area that left at least 28 people dead and 22 others injured. The president was accompanied by a senior federal government delegation and was received by Governor Caleb Mutfwang, government officials and traditional leaders, among others. The visit was aimed at assessing the security situation and demonstrating support for victims and affected communities in the aftermath of the violence. The attack, which sparked widespread outrage and heightened tension, prompted authorities to tighten security measures, including the temporary imposition of a curfew. Also, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Olatunji Disu, has visited Plateau State to commiserate with the government and people over the deadly gunmen attack in Jos North local government area. Speaking at the Plateau State Government House after being received by Governor Caleb Mutfwang, the IGP vowed to bring the perpetrators of the deadly Sunday night attack to justice. Disu strongly condemned the attack, which claimed the lives of several innocent citizens, describing it as tragic and unacceptable. In a decisive response, the IGP said he had earlier deployed the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operations, DIG Umar Shehu Nadada, to Plateau to assess the situation on the ground, coordinate ongoing operations and rejig existing security measures in conjunction with other security agencies. IGP Disu also commiserated with Governor Caleb Mutfwang. The government and people of Plateau State, particularly the affected families and residents of the community, over the unfortunate incident. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang, while speaking at the occasion, expressed deep appreciation for the show of solidarity by President Bola Tinubu and security chiefs, saying the gathering gave him hope that the state can overcome its long-standing security challenges. The governor urged community leaders to educate residents on the need for extra vigilance to end and curb the misuse of social media, which furthers tension by recycling old videos and voice notes. As Nigerians continue to grapple with irregular power supply, many residents and business owners are turning to alternative energy sources to meet their daily electricity needs. One of such alternatives gaining prominence is solar energy. In this special report, Inkem Ago examined how solar energy is emerging as a reliable solution to the nation's power challenges. Our reports.
Solar energy derived from solar light through the use of solar panels is increasingly being adopted as a reliable source of electricity in Nigeria. When combined with inverters and battery storage systems, it provides power supply both during the day and at night. In cities and rural communities, the high cost of filling generators and the persistent issue of blackouts have pushed many Nigerians to consider solar as a valuable option. For small business owners, this shift has helped reduce operational costs and improve productivity. Some energy experts explain that although the initial installation cost of solar systems may be expensive, the long-term benefits outweigh the investment.
Solar energy is now a substitute, not an alternative again, because for me, I have been a living witness. We have a lot of Nigerians that has gone off grid completely. We have some customers that are not even, they don't have gen, they don't even have NEPA light. They are running on 24 hours on solar. So this is something that has come into Nigeria and it has come to stay. It's not going anywhere, because what I believe is that in few years to this time, we will have more of advanced technology, advanced type of battery, advanced type of panels and inverters.
Solar system is a blessing to Nigeria, not a curse. Even if the grid comes up, we understand that as of today, the maximum we get from our grid is like 5,000 megawatts, which is 5 gigawatts, and the demand of us here in Nigeria is far much more than that. So solar system coming on board is going to ease the pressure on the grid. So as much people as can go to solar, take for example in Abeokuta now, where we are, if the allocation for IBDC here is, let's say, 1 megawatt, for example, and we have a load of 10 megawatts, meaning that if some people move to solar, it's going to be an ease on the IBDC network, on the grid.
They note that solar energy is not only cost-effective over time, but also environmentally friendly, and it produces no harmful emissions.
That is the major reason why you need engineers for them to ascertain your energy audit, to give you a proper solar energy design. This will help you to help during the rainy season. Now, there is this charging power, the charging time for some people, maybe during the dry season, maybe someone can use a charging time of 5 hours. For that, that means it's very sure during the dry season you have sun from 11 to maybe 3 o'clock.
Some users of solar power say since they installed solar system, dependence on generators have significantly reduced, leading to lower fuel expenses and a quieter environment.
The solar is far better because you have light in your house. There is no problem with light.
There's comfortability, and it's something that you can get access to easily compared to NEPA that you have today. In the next 2 weeks, you may not have.
Despite these benefits, challenges such as high upfront costs, maintenance concerns, and limited access to quality equipment remain barriers to widespread adoption. Stakeholders are therefore advocating government interventions through subsidized and awareness campaigns to encourage more people to embrace renewable energy. In Kem Agu, OGTV News.
Moving on, culture remains the definitive backbone of African identity, shaping the values, beliefs, and traditions passed down through centuries of ancestral lineage. However, in an increasingly globalized and rapidly changing world, the question of how effectively these traditions have been preserved has become a central concern for historians and sociologists alike. In this special report, Testimony Komolafe explores the current state of our cultural heritage and the collective efforts required to ensure its survival for future generations. Our report.
Culture is far more than just a collection of costumes and attire. It is a comprehensive way of life, from the intricate nuances of indigenous languages and traditional greetings to the vibrant legacies of festivals, local cuisines, and time-honored institutions. Culture defines the very soul of a people. Historically, Nigerian societies, particularly the Yoruba of the Southwest, have relied on oral traditions and rites of passage to maintain social cohesion. Today, these cultural practices still play a vital role in everyday life, with traditional rulers and family structures acting as custodians of moral values and social behavior.
Our culture is our language, is the way we dress, the language we speak, is our identity.
Honor our ancestors. We honor them in the way they are. They have put a lot of things into being. Long time. So we try to emulate, and Asha comes from like dressing, the way we talk, and the way we interact is part of the Asha.
The pervasive influence of Western culture, shifting lifestyles, and declining interest among the youth are gradually eroding core cultural values. Experts warn that the loss of indigenous languages, in particular, often leads to the erosion of the unique worldviews embedded within them.
The Gen Zs, don't forget where you come from. I employ them to start with fashion because that is their comfort zone. They like to dress up. Start with that, and please get as much information as possible from your parents, because most of these things are now written. They are oral histories, and we are making concerted effort also to document our history. It's very important. We don't want someone else to tell our story. We want to tell our own story.
We need to incorporate our culture, our culture, which is our heritage, into our children for the next generation.
Respondents who spoke with OGTV News notes that despite these prayers, deliberate efforts are on the way to safeguard this heritage.
People that forget about their culture, they risk going into extinction. The way you appear, the way you preserve your identity will make you look presentable and make those things stay for generations to come. So it is vital that we continue to pass down our cultural inheritance from one generation to the other.
Stakeholders also agree that culture remains the irreplaceable identity of a people. They emphasize that preserving this heritage is not merely a duty to the past, but a fundamental responsibility to the future, ensuring that African identity remains distinct on the global stage. Testimony Komlafe, OGTV News.
And still to come on the news, Lassa fever claims 50 lives in Taraba. More news and reports after this timeout. Do stay with us. Glad to know you're still there watching the comprehensive news package for the day. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is set to embark on a nationwide voter revalidation exercise ahead of the 2027 general elections. The directive is contained in an internal memo by the Secretary to the Commission, Dr. Rose Oriaron Anthony, and the address to all resident electoral commissioners. According to the document, the decision to conduct the exercise stems from the need for a credible voter register, a topic extensively discussed during the Commission's strategic retreat held in Lagos earlier in the year. The memo indicated that the revalidation exercise would follow a hybrid model, allowing citizens to participate both online and at designated physical centers. It said that the physical center would be established at the local government areas, registration areas, and polling units across the country. To facilitate the process, the memo stated that the Commission would deploy INEC voter enrollment devices, IVEDs, with 2 IVEDs stationed at each local government level. While one device will be assigned to each registration area and polling unit, the exercise will be manned by a combination of INEC staff members and members of the National Youth Service Corps, with 2 personnel assigned to each enrollment device. As the 2027 general elections approach, Christian leaders in Yewa, in collaboration with the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, have held a one-day fasting and prayer session to seek divine guidance for the nation. Olaide Oloye Shuluade reports that the spiritual gathering held at the Adiola Yayi Hall in Ilaro brought together clerics, traditional rulers, and residents to pray for peaceful coexistence and a credible violence-free electoral process. Her reports.
With the 2027 general elections on the horizon, Yewa Christian leaders and the Christian Association of Nigeria convened this solemn assembly in Ilaru, the goal to seek divine intervention for a seamless and transparent transition of power. The event drew a significant crowd of royal fathers, religious heads, and dignitaries. The session opened with hymns and a focused scripture, reading from 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1 to 8, emphasizing the duty of the faithful to pray for those in authority.
And we therefore that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands without wrath and doubt.
In a sermon, the diocesan bishop of Yewa Methodist Church of Nigeria, Right Reverend Charles Adebiyi, urged the congregation to move beyond prayer into action by participating actively in the electoral process, while upholding the values of integrity.
The better time for us to be united in Yewa land is now. Like we have said, not just to pray, that the entire, people be united to come out with their voters card.
Intense intercession was offered for the president, the Ogun State governor, and the traditional institution. The prayers focus on ensuring peaceful campaigns, national stability, and the emergence of God-fearing leaders.
By the grace of God, this is the first major gathering of Christian people, and we are believing that more of this will come, because the Bible instructs us that we should pray in season and out of season.
Where we come together, the Bible says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, and they pray, I will hear their voice. So I'm very delighted to be here and for this special program.
The aim of this program is to bring all Christians together to pray for all our leaders, those who are ruling over us, right from the federal government to this minimum level. And we thank God we are able to achieve this by the grace of God.
The program concluded with a voter sensitization session led by Venerable Usa, who reminded eligible voters of the importance of obtaining their permanent voter's card ahead of the polls. Olaide Oloye Sholuade, OGTV News.
1 out of 100 children exhibit a condition known as autism spectrum disorder. About 600 of such children are in Nigeria, while the world has 8 million of autism cases, which experts at a one-day conference organized by Iwalewa Autism Foundation believed required empathy in order to blend maximally to the society. Fowora Adesonwo has one on the celebration of World Autism Day in this report.
All children are from God, and autists are not from the spirits.
One of a kid that is on the spectrum design a design that a normal person, a normal individual cannot do. So that's why you can see it's a blessing, not a curse.
They are 1 out of the 100 children with difficulty in communication, both verbal and non-verbal. They also have challenges in social interaction, such as making eye contact, understanding local cues. Muyiwa Adenokwo, the country's representatives for the Iwalewa Autism Foundation, speak on the journey on how the founder, Anu Adunke Adenokwa Akonwo, began a journey in uplifting autism, restoring hope to the hopeless with empathy.
Aduke is a very interesting child. She had a boss that has an autistic child. And the boss, when you go to the house, will tell you, my child is autistic. So you know, as you are joining them in that house, you know the type of behavior you expect from that child. It is from there she developed the interest and started taking care of them. She had worked a lot with autistic children so that she can study them, master all their challenges, issues, and then be able to come up with a foundation to advocate for autistic individuals.
Resource persons say the way to go is to reason like an autist and not to expect much of the social conformity, norms, and standards from them.
Spirit of caregivers It's important that we help regulate the child's emotion.
Observation is key. It's through this observation what the parents have noted, because they spend more time with the children.
Early detection, you need to detect at first.
Volunteers say it should be a way of life. No doubt, autism has come to stay. Nobody can alter varieties they come with and brought to life. Ade Fowora, Adesonwo, OGTV News.
Moving on, Lassa fever has claimed 50 lives at the Federal Medical Center, Jalingo, Taraba State between November 2025 and March 2026. The FMC's head of clinical service, Dr. Abubakar Karim, said he has recorded the highest number of cases this year. Among the challenges faced are a lack of awareness about prevention measures, an acute shortage of medical doctors, and rising cases due to the locals' exposure to the disease carriers like rodents, particularly mice. New cases are still being reported, although the infection rates may decline when the rainy season comes. The FMC management in Jalingo said it has introduced service packs to standardize healthcare delivery and prevent infections. The hospital management emphasized using established channels for compliance and clarifications to avoid spreading misinformation. In a continued effort to promote and reward academic excellence, the House of Emmanuel's Foundation has conducted the second edition of its scholarship examination for senior secondary school students selected from public schools across Ogun State. The examination took place at the Lishabi Secondary School, Idiaba, Belkuta. Ayodeji Tomori Oluwumi has the details.
As part of its commitment to fostering academic excellence, reducing future financial burdens, and motivating young learners, the House of Emmanuel's Foundation organized a scholarship examination for students drawn from various public senior secondary schools across Ogun State. The founder, Olusegun Emmanuel, stated that the initiative is designed to identify students' strengths and weaknesses, encourage critical thinking, promote healthy competition, and provide measurable benchmarks for academic advancement, career opportunities, and personal development.
We also have a program under the House of Emmanuel Foundation that has to do with financial literacy. We have a program that is being set for the wellness and well-being, and we have a program that we called vocational training for those kids that are willing to go to vocational.
Members of the organizing team also explained that the selection process was conducted with fairness, transparency, and integrity.
This selection is based on what the school presented to us. We don't even know any one of them. They were selected from school. The school gave us their best. That was what we asked for. They should give us their best, and they are here today to write the exam.
Public education is something that belongs to all of us. It is not just the government. We believe that if we put in our widow's might, if we put in our efforts, we can actually improve public education and make sure that students that go to public schools get the best of education, irrespective of their financial status. So I think people should come together, everybody should come together, put their best efforts, and let the children have the best of education.
Successful candidates will benefit from a full academic scholarship covering 3 years of their secondary education. Ayodeji Tomori Oluwumi, OGTV News.
The management of Olabisi Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital, Shagamu, has condemned in strong terms any form of assault on its medical and healthcare personnel within the facility. It also emphasizes zero tolerance towards violence against its staff. In a statement signed by its Chief Medical Director, Dr. Oluwabumi Fatugashi, the hospital states that any individual or group found culpable in such acts will be promptly apprehended and prosecuted in accordance with the law. It further states that the safety, dignity, and well-being of its healthcare workers remain a top priority, adding that they are committed daily to saving lives and providing quality care to all. It also assures the public that the affected staff members is currently receiving appropriate medical attention and support from the hospital management, calling on patients, relatives, and the general public to cooperate with healthcare workers and uphold mutual respect at all times. If you walk through the streets of Irete-Ijebu, a few years ago, the quiet landscape told a story of a community waiting for its moment. Today, that narrative has changed into one of bustling construction and renewed cultural pride. This transformation, according to the Onirete of Irete, Oba Olusegun Awokoya Yesufu, is the dividend of unity. During a recent media briefing to announce the second Irete Owoila Day, the monarch reflected on how far the community has come. Machi Shomi has the details.
There is a new rhythm in the heart of Irete-Ijebu since the ascendancy of Oba Olusegun Awokoya Yesufu as the Onirete. The community has evolved from a historically significant settlement into a hub of infrastructural and social progress. The first Irete Owoila Day wasn't just a party, it was a proof of concept. It showcased a rich cultural heritage while physically bringing people back home to invest in their roots. As the community prepares for the second edition, this media briefing serves as an open invitation to the world to witness a town on the rise.
Thanks all our friends who stood by us year in, year out. And I implore the sons and daughters of Irete in making sure we grow the town, both in human capital and infrastructural.
Despite the progress, the Kabiyesi is not resting on his horse while acknowledging the impact of the state and federal projects already on the ground. He is calling for more. The Onirete's wish list for his people is clear: a dedicated community primary school, a stronger security presence, and more robust road network.
For example, we want the state government to give us a very unique primary school that we named after our town. If you look very well, we have a unique modern market that was built by us, and the influx of the students making more demanding for houses.
The message from the community is one of gratitude. Local development associations, women's groups, and the traditional council all point to the Kabiyesi's vision as the catalyst of the land's recent facelifts.
We want government to encourage us so that we can move faster in the area of development.
People should expect galaxy of festivities.
He's a monarch that listens. I want to implore them to stand by him in all ramifications.
The gates of Irete-Ijebu are open. The sons, daughters, and friends of the land are ready to host the world this Sunday, April 5th. Matthew Shomi, OGTV News.
The Nigerian Army has announced the commencement of online registration for its 91 regular recruits intake for trades and non-tradesmen and women, with the exercise set to run from March 30 to May 17, 2026. This was disclosed in a statement by the Permanent Secretary, Bureau of Cabinet and Special Services in Ogun State, I.O. Saka. According to the statement, applicants must be single Nigerian citizen by birth and possess valid national identity numbers and bank verification number slip. They are also required to be medically, physically, and psychologically fit with no criminal record and must be between 18 and 22 years. Applicants are advised to complete their registration via the official recruitment portal free of charge at recruitment.army.mil.ng, with all applications to be screened online and qualified applicants shortlisted afterwards. Shortlisted candidates will be required to participate in a physical screening exercise scheduled to take place from June 9 to June 23rd, 2026 at the State Recruitment Center, 35 Artillery Brigade, Alamala Barracks, Abeokuta. Business News is next with Simiat Abaro. Don't go away.
Thank you for joining the business segment of the news. The World Bank has approved a $500 million International Development Association credit to boost Nigeria's agricultural sector under a new program targeting smallholder farmers, value chains, and food security. The funding will support the Nigeria Sustainable Agriculture Value Chains for Growth project, also known as AGRO, which aims to improve productivity, strengthen market linkages, and create jobs across the country. The approval date for the loan project was disclosed as March 30, 2026, as earlier reported. Regarding the loan, the global lender noted agriculture remains Nigeria's largest employer, but continues to underperform due to structural constraints. Manufacturers in Nigeria continue to face borrowing costs as high as 60% despite recent monetary policy easing by the Central Bank of Nigeria. New data from the Apex Bank shows the figures detailing lending and deposit rates across deposit money banks as of March 20, 2026 indicate that while some banks offered lower prime lending rates, maximum borrowing costs remain significantly elevated. The Monetary Policy Committee of the CBN in February 2026 reduced the benchmark interest rate to 26.5%. CBN Governor Olayemi Kadoso announced the decision after the committee's 304th meeting in Abuja. This is the second rate cut under the current CBN leadership, following a similar 50 basis point reduction in September 2025 and a hold in November 2025. The Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority has reported a rise in its net asset value to 4.88 trillion naira for the 2025 financial year, driven by improved earnings, disciplined investment strategy, and sustained growth across its portfolio. The managing director of the authority, Aminu Umar Sadiq, disclosed these in Abuja during the presentation of the institution's financial statement, noting that the fund's total asset also grew by 10.9% year-on-year to 4.91 trillion naira. In dollar terms, the authority's net assets climbed by 19.8% to $3.4 billion, reflecting the strength of its diversified global portfolio and consistent capital growth since inception. According to the financial report, the authority posted a core total comprehensive income of 478.8 billion naira and core operating income of 525.3 billion naira, underscoring its resilience despite a volatile global and domestic macroeconomic environment. Nigeria's oil reserves recorded a marginal decline in 2026, while gas resources expanded, reflecting a gradual shift in the country's hydrocarbon profile amid sustained production and discoveries. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission disclosed these in Abuja, releasing the nation's official petroleum reserves position as of January 1, 2026. In a statement signed by its chief executive, Orise Meiwa Ese-Eyesa, the commission said Nigeria's total oil and condensate reserves stood at 37.01 billion barrels, while total gas reserves rose to 215.19 trillion cubic feet. The commission added that Nigeria's reserves life index stood at 59 years for oil and 85 years for gas, indicating the estimated duration the resources will last at current production levels. And finally, on business news, as Nigerians grapple with low power supply, the Lagos State government is planning to drive a large-scale migration of residents from dependence on grid electricity to solar-powered home systems, positioning renewable energy as a sustainable alternative for households and small businesses. The State Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Biodun Ogunleye, said the initiative would enable respondents to gradually move away from unreliable public power supply by adopting solar devices financed in a way similar to their existing electricity bills. Speaking at the inauguration of the solar project for Radio Lagos and Equestrian in Ikeja, Ogunleye said residents would pay amount similar to what they currently pay to their respective electricity distribution companies as subscriptions to own solar home systems. He disclosed that about 100,000 units would be deployed to homes in the first tranche of the solarization initiative, which is still being considered by the Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu-led government. And that's it on business news tonight. Back to Opeyemi for the segment of the news.
And that was business updates with Simiat Abaru. Moving to the foreign scene, the United States has lifted sanctions on Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez. Meanwhile, 4 children, aged between 1 and 3, have been brutally stabbed and killed at a school in the Uganda capital, Kampala, police said. Details are in this package.
The United States has lifted sanctions on Venezuela's interim president, Rodriguez. The move comes less than 3 months after U.S. forces seized the country's previous leader, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife in a military raid in Caracas and took them to New York to face drug trafficking charges. Rodriguez, a close ally of Maduro, who served as his vice president, had been placed on the sanctions list in 2018, with the U.S. accusing her of undermining democracy. She was sworn in as interim president by Venezuela's National Assembly, which is dominated by Maduro loyalists, days after the U.S. raid, and has been described by Trump as a terrific person. The Iran war requires a serious approach that does not change every day, Emmanuel Macron has said, in an apparent reference to U.S. President Donald Trump's seemingly contradictory remarks about the conflict. Macron was answering questions on the U.S.-Israel war in Iran, which has now entered its 2nd month. France and other European countries have supported some of the U.S. operations in the region, but have so far resisted getting dragged into the war. Trump and his administration have so far offered mixed messages on the conflict at various times, suggesting that a ceasefire was near, that the war had already been won, or that the U.S. was going to fight on. Macron also addressed Trump's recent comment in which the U.S. president said he was reconsidering his country's membership of NATO. 4 children aged between